Slam, Hotep, Slam, Salam Alaikum, and universal greetings to my people out there in the cyber world and the world in general. I'm Sharif Bey, Administrator of Affairs, and I came to make some clarifications on a lot of confusion going on out here. And it's based around the recent debate with Brother Reggie, who is so called representing the Comedics point of view, and Sharif, Brother Sharif, who's representing the Moor Science Temple, the Moors of the Moor Science Temple point of view. And the fact that people are looking at comedian people or people of Kemet as separate from the people who would proclaim themselves as being Moors, they are unstudied. You know what I'm saying? They are dealing with feelings. They are not dealing with actual history of this subject matter. There is no separation between Kemet and Moorish nations. As a matter of fact, the Moorish nations are a continuation of the Kemetic culture and the Kemetic way of doing things. The Moorish nation continued that, were custodians of that science. The Moorish nations continue to expand our influence, to expand our creativity as African people. The Moors were responsible for defending Africa. There's Moorish nations responsible for defending Africa. And some Moorish nations were responsible for taking over other Moorish nations within Africa. African nations took over other African nations. So brothers and sisters who use that as a point of trying to be divisive, now this over. The Moorish nation is just another portion of African nations in the diversity. There's no separation. From this point on, if I witness anyone who says they are Comedian or they say they Moorish and they see anything in that as being separate in anything, I know that they're suspect in their studying. They don't study. So the whole debate was, I think they were debating whether we all Moorish Americans, right? Well, from a Moor who is not considered a Moorish American because I'm not in the temple, I'm not a Moorish Science Temple member, I would say that I'm an American with Moorish heritage, with Moorish birthrights, with Moorish title of nobility, right? I'm not necessarily a Moorish Science Temple member, but honors to the Moorish Science Temple members and the Moors in the temple. Honors to the prophet. I recognize the prophet as a prophet. I recognize what he brought to us in the wilderness of North America. But I more resonate with African Moorish heritage, but personally, and actually personally recognizing or relating to Asiatic Moorish heritage. Which there's no separation. The Asiatics are our brothers, immediate cousins. So there's no separation. You feel me? I'm an African Moorish. Most of my Moorish brothers, they more relate to the Tuni Moors, which is all good. We are Moors. Which some of the Kemetic brothers try to make a big thing about how we don't agree with each other. And we don't. The diversity of us as a people should make us stronger. It shouldn't be registered as a dividing thing. We've always been a diverse people. It should not stop us from being a unified, organized, cohesive group nationally in America and internationally in the diaspora. This shouldn't stop us. It should make us stronger, the diversity. See, I'm putting out the challenge to all brothers and sisters, regardless of your persuasion, regardless of your ideology, regardless of your philosophical beliefs. The challenge is, can you actually put that aside for the interest of our national best interest, collective best interest, and our international collective best interest? Because we're taking advantage of the fact that we're not organized in that respect, and other groups are. Other national, international groups are organized. A well-organized people defeat a disorganized people every time. So we can fight over the fact that, I got more information than you. We can intellectually ejaculate with each other, intellectually play superiority complex, or we can bring that information into one place of intel, central intel, that we use as a springboard of intellectual prosperity to push us forward. Bring all your talents to this one consensus, this one body, cohesive, organized, self-organized by us body. That's the challenge. Now, I don't have a problem with debating, because debatings are good. Debates are very good so that two schools of thoughts can contend whether who has the best grasp of reality. Who's providing the truth? You understand me? Undiluted. So debates are very powerful, and I big up Sarnetta and all the brothers who participate in the House of Consciousness for bringing the debates to the people. The debates are needed, but the debates should not breed dissent. And we should be realizing that we should be mature, we should be way more mature as a so-called conscious community than allowing our ideological differences, our philosophical differences, our religious persuasions differences to divide us in seeing the big picture on how we, as whatever group you're dealing with, have a collective interest nationally and internationally as a people. That should supersede your ideological, philosophical, religious persuasions. It should. because there's a bigger picture to it. Because regardless of what you believe, what you expound as truth, at the end of the day, there are groups out there that they don't get caught up in that, and they are progressing politically and economically. We are degressing politically and economically, if that's in the word, or we are devolving politically and economically as a people, but based on the fact that we don't want to get over our petty differences. And that's the challenge to y'all. Can you get over your petty differences to become an organized body, to create a consensus amongst us, to agree to disagree about certain things and agree on certain things that affects our common interests, and come up to a consensus on certain things that affects our common interests, and create an organized body around these things? That's a challenge that I'm putting out there for all y'all. Because other than that, y'all just talking. Now, we as Moors who expound on attaching yourself to your Moorish heritage, because we can attach ourselves to our Kemetic heritage too. We can attach ourselves to our Hebrew heritage. We can attach ourselves to any number of heritage that does represent us as a national, international group of people. They all represent, these are all what make up the diversity of us as a people. These diverse things should not separate us. And it's immature for us to let it. So I know your maturity level if you're allowing that to divide us. We are a people of diversity. Period. Now, for strategic reasons, us as Moors choose to, and I do, key word is strategic, choose to attach ourselves to our Moorish heritage. Strategic reason based on history and law. Historically, the Moorish nation was an empire. We were engaging on an international level. So we were dealing with international politics. We were responsible on the level of an international responsibility, dealing with things and affairs on an international level as a group. There wasn't many so-called black nations that were doing that. At the level that the Moorish nation were doing, the Moorish nation was imperialist. We were taking our thing on the road. And it not separate. We was representing the so-called black African diaspora as a group, because it's like Khalid said, Africa was not our home. Africa was the throne from which we ruled the whole planet. So, us as Moors, we attached ourselves to our Moorish heritage. Like I said, we can attach it to any heritage. But we strategically attached ourselves to our Moorish heritage because what? The Moors were imperialists. We were in charge of things on an international level. And if we attach ourselves back to our Moorish titles of nobility, then there are so many nations that are contractually obligated to us. You understand me? They're obligated to us for recognizing them. You understand me? There's international ties to the Moorish Empire that so many different nations have to us. This is why strategically we call on our Moorish heritage and we call on our Moorish ancestry. Even though we're diverse as a people, we call and proclaim our Moorish heritage. It's strategic. Because those Moorish titles of nobility not only ties us to our global imperialist control of the planet, our hold on the planet, being, you understand me, being the estate holders, right? Being estate holders. Let's be honest. We're imperial. We are estate holders. But on a national level, our Moorish heritage benefits us because we were in charge of the estate that we are calling America. We are the original estate holders of America, the Moors. This is why we have to rise how we fail. So it's strategic to clean up the confusion out here that brothers out here talking about, oh, are we all Moors? No. I'm not saying we all Moors. But if you're dealing with science, anthropology, right? We not black. Are we black? Are we Negroids? We Negroids then? You answer me that. But anthropologically, if we attach ourselves to our Moors, that's a pedigree. That's literally a pedigree of so-called humans. That's a pedigree. Right? Because if you attach yourself to Negroid pedigrees or black, that's normal. That's European nomenclature. That's European. That's European psychology. I'm just being real. But if you attach yourself to your Moorish heritage, that's indigenous worldview. That's the indigenous worldview. And opposed to the European worldview. And if you go around the globe, the indigenous people look like the Moors. I don't have no problem with y'all calling yourself black because guess what? Y'all actually Moors. You're actually Moors. I mean, I'm not imposing it on you. I'm just saying, let's deal with it historically. Historically, we was on top of things as Moors. Historically, black people were slaves. For self-esteem reasons, I'd rather attach myself to my Moors. Not only sound scientifical reasoning, I'd rather attach myself to my Moorish heritage. You can choose not to. Right? And I guess the debate was whether we are Moorish Americans. I think I already dealt with it in the beginning of the thing. We can't impose our views on anyone. But if you do your research, we should come to some of the same conclusions through research. And this research has to be filtered through an indigenous worldview, not a European worldview. That's another video. I want to do a whole other video on that alone. But I hope I cleaned up the confusion on why we say we should attach ourselves to our Moorish heritage and opposed to all the other diverse heritage that we can attach ourselves to. I want to do this. I want to, first of all, I want to go further and do this, some, because I'm rebutting this video right here. I'm rebutting this video here of Brother Sankofa. And this is a lot of confusion that's going on out here.
That are a product of being lied to. We come from different parts of Africa where there is just no one nothing. Everybody didn't come from Morocco. There's not a such thing as Bantu, Swahili.
That's a fact.
There's not there such thing as Zulu. There's not there such thing as many, the Mozi, the Fulani, okay? Which are tribes with history, Timbuktu. Why aren't, now we are people that were brought from all these different places to America, through North, Central, and South America. I want to know how we all become Moors. How come that's like some Zulu people? That's like some. Hold on, let me finish, man. That's like some Zulus being brought here and saying we're all Zulus. We can't all be Zulus. We can't all be Bantu. We can't all be Mozi. Hold on, but listen, let me finish, brother. First things first, last things last. Now,
yeah, good.
Okay, now that being the case, since we can't all be Zulus, Mosey, and those are original African names and titles and tribes, how do we become Moors, which is Latin, which is an even African with Arabic names, with a Muslim concept when we
I already did the rebuttal. If you look at my video in its totality, I did the rebuttal to what he just said. We can attach ourselves to these diversity of titles, Kemetic, Hebrew, Bantu, Zulu. We can attach ourselves to any of these things, but like I said, we chose to attach ourselves to our Moorish heritage because of strategic reasoning based on history and law. If you study the history of the Moors, we were an empire. We wasn't just one nation. We were an empire. So we displayed this one body politics national, which is the challenge I put out to y'all. When are we going to be able to get to the point where on a national level we can display one body politics that we all are working on? Because that's the challenge. That's a big challenge. That's a big challenge for us to have one body politics that we're all working in, and all the other and everybody falls under that umbrella. That's a challenge. And it's not going to be dictated by one group. It's going to be based on the people consent. You understand me? Let's do this. Let's see who can actually come to that type of consensus as a people and see our greater interests as a people, our collective interests as a people. Let's see who can do this. Let's see who can meet this challenge. And like I said, we attach ourselves to our Moorish heritage because we were global international. We was in charge of global international affairs, and we was on top of things as Moors. We have to rise how we fell. And I'm not saying that everyone should attach themselves to Moorish heritage. But if we're going to deal with this stuff as a body, as one body, this is dealing with that as one body. Strategics. Being strategic. I got to go with that. Peace. Islam. Hotel.